being incarcerated. So I couldn't tell you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Merle Stutt says his former longtime girlfriend, Leylon Bailey, owes for the return of his van and the return of jewelry. Leylon says Merle has her belongings too.
Listen to me. Give him the title to his van.
Your Honor, he was there.
I don't care. He paid for the van. It's his van. He was stupid to say, go put it in your, you put it in your name.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
No, he told me to.
Quiet. We don't have a long-standing living together for 15 or 16 years. You've known each other 15 or 16 years. You actually lived together for 10 months after his mother died.
We lived together before, and he almost killed me when his mother was alive, and I told him if he laid a hand on me that I would leave.
Then why did you
I
go
haven't
back?
touched you in over 10 years.
Then why'd you
Until
go back?
in the RV.
Listen to me. I'm not interested. Get over it. Get over it. You cared for her enough to give her an engagement ring, right?
Yes, at the time,
and he
yes.
bought me the van.
Yeah.
Yes,
Right.
yes, I'm agreeing with that.
Fine. And you get $1,000 for that because I don't believe her story for a second that it got stolen out of a car with a lot of other stuff without filing a police report because somebody has property that's stolen. You call the police and you say, this car was broken into and all my property was stolen. That's what a normal person does. All right. Now, you say that he has some of your personal property. What does he have of your personal property?
My microwave oven that my girlfriend gave to me.
Yeah.
He tried to give me an old broken down one.
Yeah.
And
What else?
my brass
Stop it.
collection, my angel collection.
What else?
Some clothes.
You have her angel collection.
She can have it all.
Sure.
She can
I
have it
want
all.
you to just pay attention to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have her angel collection?
Yes, it's in storage, and I'll give it back to her, so no
Pack
problem
it
at all.
nicely and give it back to her.
Yes.
Do you have a microwave that she had?
No.
Nothing else?
The microwave was given to both of
Listen
us
to
to put
me.
in a motorhome.
Anything else other than her angel collection?
I'll give her everything. I don't want none of her stuff.
What else do you have? I need to itemize it.
My mom gave her a rocking chair, which she can have, and the angel
And my sewing machine.
and the sewing machine. She can have that too.
What
Yeah,
else?
that's
So let's
all I
make it
took.
clear.
Okay.
Listen. The two of you, stop moving around so much. You're making me nervous. Angel collection, sewing machine, and a rocking chair. What else do you have, sir?
That's all. I don't know if the sewing machine and the rocking chair is in the garage because I went in there and she'd already been in the garage taking stuff out of it.
Do you
so we
have
to
the
ask her if she
sewing
took it
machine?
or
Yes,
not.
I got the sewing machine.
And what about the rocking chair?
I got the rocking chair. but-
Fine. So what we're talking about is an angel collection. 5 days from today, you make sure she.
Oh, yeah, I will.
That's all. Thank you.
Why is that excuse? You may step out.
The only reason I left was because he hit me, and I told him if he got physically abusive with me again, oh
never
yeah,
touched
you
you.
never tried to kill me, huh?
I took her to Mexico, spent money on her, bought her clothes.
He almost
Okay.
killed me when his mother was alive.
Giving her family money, taking care of everybody. And I just got tired of it.
If they've been physically abusive once, they'll never change.
37-year-old homemaker Michelle Kelly is suing her ex-boyfriend, 26-year-old construction worker Jason Watwood, for an unpaid loan and for an assault. Michelle claims Jason knocked out her tooth.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 104 on the calendar in the matter of Kelly versus Watwood. As have been sworn in, Judge, you may be seated.
Thanks,
Young
Bert.
man, have a seat. You're welcome, Judge.
Miss Kelly, the defendant was a former boyfriend of yours. According to your complaint, he owes you for 2 things. A loan that you made to him while you were dating in the amount of $1,200 to fix his truck. And then is your claim that he assaulted you sometime afterwards, causing you to lose a front tooth. You wanted to pay for the dental work. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When were you dating the defendant? What month and year?
Jason and I met in like the end of February of last year,
When did he move in with you?
about 3 months after we met.
And when was this loan made?
It was in December.
Tell me the circumstances of the loan.
Jason bought a 69 Chevrolet pickup truck. At that point, it broke up. And we got back together, and he had the truck for like a month, and the truck broke down on him.
When you say you broke up, did he move out of your house?
Yes, ma'am. He moved
Well,
out.
when did he move out? Moved in May of 2000.
Right, and we lived together about 6 months. And then he moved out, which Jason was always coming and going and living with me, between me and his mother. And so during this time that he buys this truck, we're getting back together, and he's starting a new job, and the truck breaks down on him. I'm having to take Jason back and forth to work. Well, during this time, he puts the truck in the shop, and he was asking me if I would loan him the money and that he would pay me back.
And he was not living with you at the time?
Yeah, in December, yes, ma'am, he was living.
He
with
was?
me. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, there came a time when you claimed he assaulted you. When was that?
That was in the end of December, 1st of January. Jason and I started talking about him not paying me back any of the money. And he had been drinking, and he became very violent and was very upset with me, and said that he had been giving me, you know, money for living in the house, which I'm not denying the fact that Jason would give me $100, $150 every paycheck, but it did not consist of anything concerning the amount of money that I loaned him for the truck.
Okay, so what happened?
Well, like I said, he was, you know, very upset with me. He had been drinking. He threw me down in the kitchen floor, and I have hardwood floors through my downstairs, and I hit my mouth, which my son is here as a witness of that. And once I broke away from that situation with Jason, I ran into the living room. That's when my son appeared in the living room. He also was on Jason, trying to help me get Jason off of me. And when I finally was away from him, of course, my mouth was bleeding, and I go to the restroom, and my tooth had been knocked out.
Can I see the bill from the dentist for that?
Yes, ma'am. I also have a letter from the dentist.
Did you file a police report?
No, ma'am, I did not. I'd had Jason arrested before for assault, and went to court and helped him get out of that like a fool, but I did.
When was that?
That was back in probably August.
And then you took him back into your house?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Okay, I'll hear you.
Your Honor, I didn't voluntarily move in with Michelle. She had asked me several times to move in with her. I stayed with her a good bit, but I didn't want to move in with her because I wasn't making a whole lot of money. I was working construction, making cash money. While I was at work, Miss Kelly went to where I was living, and she got my clothes and brought them to her house. That's how the moving in arrangement. She wanted me to move in. I said, look, you've got payments that I can't support you with. Which, that's fine. I make plenty of money, so don't worry about that. So, no, I can't do that. Well, she went and got my clothes anyway.
So why don't you go get your clothes back?
Well, I thought if she wants me to move in this bad with her, you know, then I mean,
Jason, that is
why not?
Don't speak to him. No, I'm just asking you. You're a big guy. You work construction. You work off the books. You get paid in cash. You sound like a pretty smart guy. So if somebody takes your clothes and moves them into the house and you don't want to go, you say, gee, I like you very much. I'm going to move my clothes back.
Yes, ma'am. I agree. I should have done that.
Well, you didn't. So, and how long did you live there under duress?
From about April to about beginning of January.
So that's a long time that you were living there in slavery.
I'm not complaining.
You're not complaining. So you lived there.
Yes, ma'am.
And what? And how much money did you give her while you were living?
I would give her. I mean, my check was usually somewhere between $300 and $500. I'd give her all my money except for about $50. Well, the situation was, if I got paid by check, I could not give her the check to deposit her bank account because she lives off of her dead husband. If she makes more than $7,000 or $9,000, I forget which one it is, a year, then she gets penalized on that money. So she'd want me to cash my check and just give her the money, and I would keep $40 or $50 for me spending money for that week, and she'd make sure that I had whatever I needed at home, which was fine.
Okay, good. So
as far as the tooth.
No, don't go to the tooth yet. I'm still with the truck.
Okay. Now the truck. I took it to I actually had Lake City Auto come and get it. I would go down to pay it, and Michelle would not want me just to give them cash money, because if they said we didn't pay any money on it, if she just wrote a check, give her the cash, then we'd be able to trace it and show them, look, we paid with a check, we'd be able to trace it, which at the time seemed like the right thing to do.
So how much money were you giving her every month?
At a minimum, $200 per week, at a minimum of $800 per month.
And you considered the money that she wrote for the fixing of your truck money that you had, in fact, contributed to the household?
No, ma'am.
You gave her additional money.
I would give her all my money, just to where she would have money. I mean, I was the one that would give the lunch money in the mornings. I would take the kids to school. She's been to court probably several times for the kids being tardy from school, from absences. And if I had to take them several times, she'd have been right back there again.
That is not true, Your Honor. Jason did give me $80 towards the loan.
When?
He did do that. In February.
Is that right?
Like the first week of February.
I gave her $80, but it wasn't for the loan. I was going to give her $100 to help her out. And she was griping because all I was giving her was $100. And she started mouthing off. And so I pulled a 20 off of the stack of 20s. I said, you're down to 80. And so she hushed, and I gave her the money. And then, of course, when she got the money, she said her piece again and left.
So you paid her $80 back?
No, just to help her out, not as a loan. I give her money throughout the time that we was dating, and more so than my part of the bills. I mean, she'd have $600 phone bills and would get mad at me,
all yours,
and I would sit
directly
there and
to
I would
Holly
line them
Pond.
up. I said, well, let's calculate these and see how much mine are. So 1 month mine come to $24. The next month mine come to $26. So why would I owe
But he
her more
never
than that?
paid.
Tell me about this incident, sir, where she says that you threw her down on the floor.
She didn't like my hours at my new job. I'd get home about 9:30 or 10 at night. Well, she couldn't stay home. She had to go out. She had to go out drinking. Well, I get home, and the kids will be a little worried. Like, well, is Mom coming home? Are you going to meet her? So no, I'm just going to hang right here. And then asked me to call her, so I'd call her. Well, she need to come home. Well, I'll come home when I want to. You're at work all day. I'm, entitled to go out and have a good time. Well, she come home, and then the night that she had come home, and that we'd actually got into it, I was just trying to keep her from hitting me and kneeing me. And I would grab her or hold her to keep her from doing that. The reason why she was so mad was because one phone bill that we had, she couldn't find one of the pages. It just mysteriously disappeared. Well, I called the phone company and asked them to send me a copy of the bills. Okay, I asked her again, where's this page from the phone bill? Well, I don't know. I showed her the copy. It was the page that was missing, which was a page full of calls to her ex-boyfriend. And of course, that's when she went off. She was about half-tight, and it made her mad, so she went off.
What time did this happen, sir?
This was probably around midnight.
Around midnight.
Between 11 and 12, I would say.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
Just a second. With the children, shh. Is that when she came home?
She come home around, I'd say around 11. And,
She came home at around 11.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Step up next to your mom. I just have a couple of questions for you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Michelle Kelly says ex-boyfriend Jason Watwood owes for an unpaid loan and for knocking out her tooth.
Tell me your name.
Corey.
Corey, do you remember when your mom and Mr. Watwood had an argument?
Yes, ma'am.
What time of the day was it?
It was about 1 o'clock
1 o'clock when?
in the morning.
Had you been sleeping?
Yes.
Do you remember what time you went to sleep?
About 9 o'clock because it was a school night.
Was your mom home when you went to sleep?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know whether your mom went out again that evening?
No, ma'am.
You don't know.
No, ma'am.
Was Mr. Watwood at home when you went to sleep?
No, ma'am.
What time did you get home that evening, sir?
About 9:30.
When you got home, was the plaintiff at home?
Jesse and Corey was at home.
I asked you if the plaintiff was at home when you
No.
got home at 9:30.
No, ma'am.
The children were sleeping?
No, they was still awake.
Do you remember your mom going out?
No, ma'am.
You don't remember, or she didn't go out?
Well, I really don't know if she went out, but when me and my sister go to bed, she doesn't really ever go out.
What happened to wake you up at 1 o'clock in the morning?
Well, I was sleeping and I heard a big noise and downstairs and I went and told my sister and she just fell back asleep because she didn't hear anything. And I went downstairs and I saw him hitting my mom, well, not hitting her, but he had her down on the ground and he wouldn't let her up.
In what room was that?
It was in the kitchen.
And what was your mom wearing?
She was wearing, I can't remember.
What was the defendant wearing?
He was wearing a white shirt and I think a pair of blue jean shorts.
And you don't remember what your mom was wearing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, sit down.
Your Honor,
What?
I'd just like to say that this is what Miss Kelly does for a living. She sues people for a living. And I've been at her home several times when she's prepped the kids as to what to say, what to do.
What kind of lawsuit, sir?
Corey got hit by a car a few years back, and the lawsuit went on and on and on. Instead of settling for, I think it was $70,000, she got greedy and wouldn't settle, so she ended up losing the lawsuit.
I didn't
And
even
she's
know
in
him
lawsuits
then,
right
Your Honor.
now from her house, and she's suing four different people. And she's even told me that they've offered her $100,000 a piece, but she won't take it. She's
That's
going
not
for $1 million a piece. That's what she does for a living.
I don't know if she does that for a living, so she has to do something else for a living. What
No.
kind of work do you do?
Actually, I'm a widow, and I'm a housekeeper. I take care of my children.
How much money do you get from Social Security
$944.
a month?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any other source of income?
Yes, ma'am. I have my child support.
From?
My children's father.
I thought you said you were a widow.
I am. My second husband was killed in a car wreck.
What's the amount of your child support?
Right now, it's $800 a month.
Okay. Now, are you telling me, Miss Kelly, that you had not been out that evening?
No, ma'am, I didn't. I would go pick him up. He worked 6 nights a week. His truck was in the shop. I took him to work every single morning and picked him up every single night.
When did the truck come out of the shop?
The truck was in the shop for over a month.
When did it come out of the shop?
At the end of December, 1st of January.
Well, then the truck wasn't in the shop at the time you say he assaulted you because
No,
you'd
ma'am,
already
it
given the
wasn't.
money.
Yes, ma'am, it was afterwards.
So then what were you taking him to work for?
Because when he got the truck back, it broke down again, and he has yet to even taken it back to see if anything that I had paid for that truck being fixed. He has not even taken it back to see if that was it. He's driving his father's Cavalier once again, and the truck's still sitting on the side of the road.
I just had to take it in one day. They put a new distributor cap on it. It was fine. It was January 10th when I got my truck out. Unless I'm mistaken, Tuesday through Saturday is 5 nights a week that I work, not 6.
And after that, the truck was not back in the shop?
No, ma'am.
Mr. Watwood, the only question that I have for you, I'm not satisfied that there was a loan for this truck.
Okay.
The only thing that I have to ask you is I want you to describe the incident that took place in the kitchen for me.
Michelle come in from being out. I was already there. When she come in, I said, Michelle, did you ever find the other page to the phone records? No, she never had found them. I said, well, just so happens I got a copy made. Here's the page that was missing. And that's when she went off, got mad. She was, like I said, she was about half tired. She had way too much to drink. She's the one that, when she loses her temper, she goes off. All I did, Your Honor, was just, when she was trying to hit me, I would hold her arms to keep from hitting me, and I would turn to the side to keep her from kneeing me. And she was kicking and swinging so wildly that she fell when I was holding her arms because her feet just from trying to kick me.
Does the incident with the page from the phone bill sound familiar to you?
No, ma'am. I don't have a clue what he's talking about. He had a $600
well, the
phone bill
only
every
thing
month,
that I
and he
ask
never
you,
paid
the
it
reason I
either.
ask you that, Miss Kelly, is in your complaint, you say that this fight took place in mid-December, not in January, because in this complaint you say, around the holiday times, I begged him to pay me back because I needed extra cash for presents. Did you forget that you wrote that?
No, ma'am. Actually, I didn't write that.
Let me see if you signed it. That is your signature.
Yes.
Because it's the same as here, and you signed it, you swore to it, and you said, around the holidays, I begged him to pay me back because I needed extra cash for presents.
Right.
That's what you signed.
Right.
Case is dismissed.
While he's excused, you may step out.
And I'm just glad that Judge, you can see through her.
He's a loser, and I know what he is. And that's the bottom line.
It's completely bogus. No truth to it at all.
He, the phony, would not blame another hairdresser for what he did.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Ackerman versus Peart, step forward, please.
44-year-old accounts receivable clerk Ruth Ackerman and her daughter, 18-year-old Crystal, are suing Crystal's half-sister, 24-year-old office manager Melissa Peart, and her husband Tyson Peart. Crystal says Melissa won't return her furniture.
What's your first name?
Crystal?
Crystal, this is your sister.
Yes.
You're the mother.
Yes.
You're the husband.
Yes.
Hers. According to your complaint, there came a time that for some reason you moved into your sister's home with her husband. Had she been living with you before?
My daughter?
Yes. How old were you?
I was 17 at the time. Oh, sorry, 18 in November. I just turned 18.
Why did you go and live with your sister?
I was living at a drug home at the time with my friends, and she suggested that would be the best place for me to
What do
be.
you mean a drug home?
Friends using drugs.
How long had you been living there?
For about a month and a half.
Where'd you live before that?
With my mother.
Why did you move out of your mother's home?
Because I was a rebellious teen.
So your sister did a nice thing. She said, come and live with me.
Yes.
You lived there from November of 2000 until when?
To February.
And then she told you to leave.
Yes.
Why?
Well, we weren't getting along the end of the last month in February and January. Weren't getting along. She did kick me out about 5 different times.
Were you breaking the rules?
Yes.
This lawsuit says that when you left 2 things there. One was a chest and your bed.
Correct.
And you want those things back or their value. Your sister says she held on to them for about 6 months and then got rid of them, right? Mm-hmm. Where did you go after you left your sister's house?
I moved in with a friend into an apartment.
Why didn't you take your chest and your bed?
We couldn't fit it in.
Did you tell your sister that?
Yes.
What did she say?
She didn't say anything. She was very silent towards me.
You were angry with her?
I was, Your Honor. I gave her 7 days to move her stuff out.
And this chest and bed, were they in a room that you needed?
Yes, they were.
She doesn't have to keep your stuff forever.
A couple times I was trying to make arrangements with my friends to get a truck to go in there and get my stuff out. Unfortunately, I have no truck. I have a little car, can't fit a bed and cedar chest on top of it.
When did you sell it?
June.
Who did you sell it to?
I sold it to a coworker of my husband's and to a friend.
Okay, how much did you get for it?
Total together, I got 110.
Now, your daughter moved out in February. Mm-hmm. Did you call your other daughter in February or March and say, I'm going to come and pick up this bed?
No, we didn't.
Why not?
We actually did tell Crystal that she could store the stuff at our house, so we kept telling her to go get the stuff.
And she didn't?
And she did not go get the stuff.
When you moved in with your sister, you lived there for November, December, January, 3 months. Did she support you?
Yes.
You weren't working?
No, I was looking for a job. I had a job when I was living there, and I did lose the job.
So your sister took care of you?
Yes.
So why would you want to sue her?
I just want my stuff back.
She doesn't have it.
Well, I want what she sold. That's my bed, my cedar chest. My cedar chest means a lot. I got it for my 16th birthday from my parents. I mean,
well, she sold both things.
It's valuable stuff to me.
She doesn't have them. She kept them in her house for months. You couldn't get a truck. Your mother wasn't talking to her directly. She was talking to you. She could have stored the stuff but never made arrangements. And I assume that you and your other daughter are not getting along for some reason. Is that right?
In the last couple of months, yes. Prior to her moving out and that, no. We were fine.
Well,
Your Honor?
Yes.
The reason why this pretty much whole thing started because I found my biological father, and when my grandfather passed away in May, he was asked to be a pallbearer, not my stepdad. So now the family's mad at me because I found my real dad, and they're just vindictive towards me right now.
She found her father 5 years ago, and I knew that 5 years ago, and I accepted that as long as she kept it to herself. Her father signed legal rights for adoption. He wanted nothing to do with her, and within my books of my feelings, he had no rights to her at all. I did tell her, that's fine, but you keep it to your side, your family, that's fine that you've seen your father. I did not need it in my life. I didn't have to have it in my life. My father that passed on was my father. She was only a granddaughter. A funeral is for the people who are alive, not dead. And my father wanted a quiet family funeral, and he was not my family. He might have been my daughter's, but he was not my family. So due to that, yeah, we got a lot of hurt out of it.
It's time for it to be over.
It is. And because of all this, Crystal decided to go get her stuff. I kept telling her to get it. Crystal was sick the day she made arrangements to go get the bed. I went with my daughter, Tracy, to go get it, and she was not home that day. So within 2 days, she had sold the bed, apparently.
But meanwhile, she took care of your daughter. And if the bad feeling that exists now between you and your daughter has to do with her finding a biological parent and involving him in your father's funeral, which is, I assume, what you are hurt about, you have to understand something. When you make choices, you made a choice, you had a child, and so did her biological father at that time, and I assume you were both much younger, but children have a natural curiosity. Children very often have a need to know their biological parents. Even if her adoptive father was wonderful to her, there is sometimes that need. And maybe it was wrong for her to involve her biological father in your father's funeral. I don't disagree with that. But it's over. It doesn't mar something forever. It doesn't mar that.
Your Honor, it wasn't me involving him into the funeral. It was actually my grandfather's wishes. They were very best friends in the past, and within the last 5 years, he begged me to bring him around because my grandpa was on his deathbed. And I brought him around only under my grandpa and grandma's wishes, and it was my grandfather's wishes to have him there. It wasn't me. I had no idea.
Did you tell that to your mother?
I surely did.
I don't believe it. I'm next to my dad on his deathbed. I was about the last one to see him before he went into his coma.
Well, what about your mother? Did your mother tell you that that's what he wanted?
My mother didn't tell me until the day we was at the funeral home making the arrangements of who the pallbearers were. That's
but did your mother tell you that that was your father's request?
She said, I don't believe her.
Then you don't believe your mother and you don't believe your daughter?
No.
Then you have a problem.
No, because in Christmas time...
No, then you have a problem.
My father said what Melissa was doing was wrong. So why would he found something different?
Maybe it's because that's what he thought you wanted to hear. Why would your mother, who I assume lived with your father, for how many years?
30 years.
30 years, why would your mother do something that she knew was exactly the opposite of what your father would want done at his funeral? In any event, she doesn't have the bed and chest anymore. She sold them. Did you tell your mother you sold them for $120?
I miscalculated. I apologize.
We have the bills of sale.
I have the bill of sale.
Please.
I actually
And the
sold.
rental agreement that Crystal signed.
I have the bill of sale on both of them, and I actually sold them on the 11th of May and the 1st of June. I arranged for pickup on the 4th of June. After I gave Crystal, I talked to her, wanted to give her one last chance to make arrangements to come get it, but she didn't.
You have any problem giving your sister the $110 you got for her things?
I do.
Chris, Missy didn't sell the bed.
I want to explain something to you. This is a non-case. $110 is what she sold the stuff for. You're suing for $600, which is ridiculous. It costs more than $600 to feed you, take care of you, provide you with a home for 3 months, which your sister did, so I have no idea what you're doing here. However, I don't think it's fair that you keep the money for her things, so I'm going to give her the $110. That's it. Do you understand? Instead of saying thank you, you sue her. Ridiculous. Goodbye.
Found in the matter of Boone versus Rose. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Get ready for a lecture. Mr. Boone, you and the defendant evidently had a relationship and you have a baby together. Your lawsuit, Mr. Boone, which I will dispose of very quickly, says that while you were together, she drove your car, you drove her truck, you put a stereo system in her car because you were doing a lot of the driving in her car. Then you broke up and you want your stereo system back.
Basically. Yes, ma'am.
Don't you have bigger things to deal with?
Yes, we do.
So why are you bothering with this dumb issue?
Because the money that I was going to get from the stereo system was going to go towards my son.
Why don't you get a job?
I've got a job.
Good. Use the money from your job. Do you understand? That's what you do, use money from your job. What I find most interesting is your counterclaim, which I will dispose of equally as swiftly. Your counterclaim, which is a little interesting, says that you and the plaintiff agreed while you were pregnant that the baby was going to be placed for adoption. And then Mr. Boone changed his mind.
In the hospital when we were signing the paperwork, yes, ma'am.
And because he changed his mind, it cost you about $1,000 for a lawyer.
Yes, ma'am.
And you want him to pay the $1,000 because he changed his mind.
I want him to pay the $1,000 because he lied to the judge and he lied to a lawyer. He said that I had given up my rights, which as soon as I found out he did not sign the paperwork, I signed the reversal papers, the dismissal papers, ma'am, and he went and got a court order against me to take the baby home with him. And that's not a place for a baby. And so it was either the baby goes home with him or I go and get a lawyer and have the baby come home with me.
Miss Rose.
Yes, ma'am.
First, take a tissue.
Thank you.
So let me understand. You're in the hospital. You had signed a release for the baby.
Yes, ma'am.
He changed his mind.
Yes, ma'am.
And then he went to court and said, she's given up her rights to the baby, so I want to take my son home with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Had you ever discussed placing the baby for adoption, Mr. Boone?
We had. We went to a few meetings with the lady of Lifeline. The first meeting we went to, I told her I did not want to do it. I did not want to give the baby up for adoption. And
did you change your mind?
Well,
you're allowed to tell me that I did change my mind.
Well, I did, but I mean, I never wanted to give him up for adoption to begin with.
I understand that, but I want you to be very honest with me. You
Yes.
had, in fact, discussed it with her.
Yeah, we had discussed it. We were making an option.
And you did see your son and then change your mind.
I watched him be born. That was, probably one of the happiest days of my life.
So far?
So far.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
It's a very short life so far.
Yes.
Ms. Rose.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to try to explain it to you in a way you'll understand it.
Yes.
Let us say the situation was reversed and the two of you had decided, especially Mr. Boone, that he wasn't ready for parenthood, he couldn't deal with it financially, he couldn't deal with it emotionally, and he wanted to place the baby for adoption, and you said okay. And then you went through the experience of having your baby, you looked at him, you fell in love, and you changed your mind.
Ma'am, I was
Just a second.
Sorry.
Okay, I'm reversing the situation. Do you think really that Mr. Boone could sue you for changing your mind and therefore being financially responsible for this baby for the next 21 years?
Ma'am, he has not helped me.
No. You're not paying attention. I don't know if you're not getting it. Do you think that it would be right or fair or legally appropriate for you to be sued by him, because the law would require that he support this baby until the baby is 21 years old? And you would come to me and say to me, Judge, I fell in love with this baby. I changed my mind. I couldn't give him up. You think he could sue you?
He's suing me for speakers.
Well,
I don't.
He may sue you for speakers, but that's not going to happen here. You have no claim against him. He changed his mind. He's allowed to change his mind, just as the law would give you an opportunity to change your mind soon. You know, within 24 hours, some places 48 hours. That's a very important time. So your parents are now responsible for taking care of your baby.
I am.
But you live at home.
Yes, ma'am, but I pay for everything. I've gotten no help from him. My parents have been helping me out as much as they can.
So I say to you, your parents are responsible for the baby. He says that it's been made very difficult for him to see his son. Why is that?
Because my lawyers have said that unless he helps out, he got arrested a week after the baby was born.
For what?
Theft of property. He got fired from his job. He stole. Even his little friend over there knows about it. He got arrested and fired from his job for stealing. He stole digital cameras, CD players. He stole cameras. He stole lots of stuff. I thought my birthday present was, I don't know how he would have gotten $500 to get my birthday present, but I have that. So? And then I have, had
he been arrested before?
I don't know. Not to my knowledge.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Comes under the category of you picked him.
Yes, ma'am. I know.
And he's got an interest in seeing this child. Now, your lawyers may say to you, unless he contributes to the baby's support, he's not going to see him. But that's being very short-sighted. It's being very short-sighted because let's say a year from now or 2 years from now, he's working, he's got a good job, and he says, now I want to see the baby and I can contribute my $25 a week, whatever it is. And the judge said, yes, you're entitled to, you're the father. Well, then it's been 2 years or a year, and you're introducing a new person into your baby's life rather than have the baby see him regularly. You can't be selfish about that, and you can't be childish. 2 18-year-olds make a baby, but then you have to be a grown-up if you decided to keep him.
Ma'am, I've tried to be as grown-up as possible about this. I've tried to do everything that I possibly can. He's threatened me since the day the baby was, since I took the baby home. He's threatened me since I took the baby home to take me to court. He said that he's going to get full custody of the baby. He would call my house.
That's not a threat. Just a minute.
Yes,
Ms. Rose, that's not a threat. Now, I know you consider that a threat,
yes,
but it isn't a threat.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bobby Boone says the mother of his child, Teresa Rose, owes for the cost of car speakers. Teresa says Bobby owes her for interfering with the adoption of their baby.
The law in this country is that in regards to custody disputes between a mother and a father, nobody gets preference. The fact that he may have to prove that he has the ability, the capability, and that he'd be a better parent than you, that's a whole different ball of wax. But he has the legal right to do that. That's not a threat. But I think your lawyer is being very short-sighted if your lawyer says, don't let him see the baby. Very short-sighted. Now what do you want to say?
After the baby was born, I was giving her money on a regular basis, and then she heard a bunch of stuff about me that wasn't true, and then tells me I can't see my son. I call her house. Her stepdad tells me I was not allowed to call there anymore. I wasn't allowed to come to her house. I was never going to see my son again. Was his words. He took me off before the baby was born to one of his friend's house, and they were telling me, the best thing I can do is give him up and he'll pick up the pieces. He even mentioned it more than once that if he wanted me in the bottom of Smith Lake, that's where I would be. And up to the point where they told me I wasn't allowed to call or go over there anymore. I was giving her money on a regular basis.
Just 1 second. Have you gone to court with regard to custody and visitation?
Not yet.
Well, why don't you, sir?
Well, that's what I'm working on.
What do you mean working on it? You don't have to work on it. You have the right to go into your local family court or juvenile court, file a petition asking to legally be declared the father of this child,
yes,
and asking for either custody, if you feel as if you're the better parent, or visitation regular court-ordered visitation, and they will also fix a support schedule for you. The problem, Mr. Boone, is, and I don't want you to feel so angry at her parents, because her parents know that an 18-year-old who is now saddled with an infant, that changes her life forever, as it may change your life forever.
Yes.
Her parents clearly understand that if she were prepared to do that, that would probably be in her best interest to do it. If she were prepared to do that, if she felt as if it were in her best interest. So you are really affecting her, her family, her parents, the baby, and you have a job doing what?
Well, right now I'm working delivering pizza.
You're a pizza delivery person.
And
just pay attention. You're a pizza delivery person. Do you know how much the reports indicate it costs to raise a child in this country from age 0 to 21?
No, ma'am.
$260 some odd thousand if you want to educate your child, medically take care of your child, clothe your child, sporting equipment, sneakers, orthodontist, etc., etc., etc.
The job I had, it has excellent benefits, and he would be on my insurance, and I would take full responsibility for him, and that's what I...
Not on $12 an hour you won't, Mr. Boone. In the meantime, you have a responsibility as a father, and that is to go to court and file a petition seeking to legally be declared the father of this child in a court. Say, right now I'm delivering pizzas, I'll give you a piece of what I earn. I want to support him, but I also want to see him. Go ahead.
Ma'am, I have done as much as I can to let him see the baby, even though my parents tell me not to.
Shh.
Even though my parents tell me not to talk to him and stuff, I will still call him. He never even asks about the baby. I'll sit there, I'll talk to him, he'll ask me how I am, he'll ask...
Mr. Boone, don't interrupt her.
He will never even ask how the baby is. He has not helped me, yes, the first month or so before he started saying, oh, I want my speakers back, because I made it perfectly clear to him that we were not going to get back together because he hurt me so badly. I'm sorry, that just is a very emotional thing. I was in the hospital, just had my baby, and I found out it was going to go home with him. His home is not a safe, I don't feel it is a...
That's not emotionally hurting you. Listen to me. You said, I am giving this baby up. He said, I don't want to. I am going to fight to keep the baby so that I will have him in my life. That's not a trick.
I went...
Shh. He had a choice. Just as I said to you, Miss Rose, you could have the same change of heart. You could have had the same change of heart. Fact is, you didn't. And it's going to be very difficult for you. But it's a big mistake not to let him see this baby in a comfortable circumstance so that he and the child develop a relationship now without acrimony, without fighting. Anyway, your lawsuit's dismissed, and Miss Rose, so is yours. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Oh my God, he lives in a nasty little trailer. They have roaches, they have 5 people living in a little single wide trailer.
She's let me see him 3 times in over a month.
He got fired for stealing a week after the baby was born.
I've made some mistakes, but I've paid for my mistakes.
He only wanted to keep me, and that's just that.
Yeah, this is case number 215 on the calendar in the matter of Lee versus Kearney Yawan. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats.
Miss Lee, according to your complaint, the defendant was living in your home. You were living there with a friend of yours, and he was the friend's boyfriend. Is that right?
Yes.
And you claim that he started a fire in your home, caused substantial amount of damage. You want him to pay for all of the damage. The defendant's answer indicates that, well, it was an accident. And 2, he fixed a lot of the damage, and there should not be anything that requires any professional attention. Is that right, sir?
That's right.
Okay. When did this happen?
Well, it took place around February of 2000. It was close to midnight, where he had apparently started the fire by himself, and somehow he had used kerosene and it got out of hand. He left a trail of kerosene from the front door to the fireplace, so when he started to light the fire, it trailed back, of course, to the front door on the hardwood floor as well.
Do you have pictures of the damage?
Yes, I do.
Were you in the house at the time?
Yes, I was.
The fire was extinguished so that nobody was hurt?
Correct.
Fortunately.
Fortunately,
okay.
Yes.
What's this dollar bill doing on your floor?
Oh, I had a friend took that and he just put the dollar bill there just to focus in on the area.
I see. I assume that's the ceiling, smoke on the ceiling?
Correct.
Okay. Why did you light a fire with kerosene?
Well,
well over here.
Okay.
Well is not an answer.
That's actually the part that is not true. I didn't try to light up the fireplace with the kerosene.
How did you light the fire?
Well, okay, the truth is that I think it's about on June last year, and it's not on February.
You needed a fire in June?
Yeah.
Was it very cold?
June 31st, yeah.
It was very cold. Where do you live?
In Seattle.
Even in Seattle, it's cold enough in the summertime that you have to light a fire?
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes it can get very cold, yeah. And I noticed at that time also it was raining outside.
What time of the day or evening did you light this fire?
Well, that's the thing that I'm not quite sure also. I have already totally forgot about this whole incident.
How many fires have you lit in your life that caused damage?
Yeah, that's...
How many is the question?
This is the first time.
Then I would remember it. Do you understand? You almost burned the house down.
Yes.
How did it happen?
Okay, I
Do
have
you
a
remember
drink.
how it happened?
Yes,
sir?
I remember.
You remember clearly how it happened?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So at that time that it was late at night, and then I was setting up the fireplace, and then after that I go make myself a drink.
What time were you setting up the fireplace?
It's probably around 10 o'clock.
Didn't you have to get up early in the morning?
Yes, I do. Because that I'm thinking that I was just going to set up the fireplace for about an hour, and then after that I will
No, slowly, sir.
extinguish it.
You thought you were setting up the fireplace on what?
For about only an hour.
Fires don't last for only an hour.
Yeah, but I decided that later on I will just extinguish it myself and then go to bed because I have to work in the morning.
How'd the fire start?
Okay, like I said, that when I get up and then try to make a drink, I have this vodka on my hand, and then I lit up the fire. I didn't use any kerosene or anything. It was a dry wood, so I just started up the fire right away. And then approximately after about 15 minutes or so, I decided I need to go to the restroom. So I go to the fireplace, and then put more wood into the fireplace. And then at that time, I put the glass with the vodka in front of the fireplace, and then I just totally forgot because that it's dangerous.
Had a little too much vodka.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yes.
Had a little too much vodka.
Yes.
There you go. I knew we were going to find the answer, sir, if we just kept going. So it wasn't an accident. It wasn't on purpose. It was caused by you having a little too much Stoli or whatever you were drinking.
That's right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you have to take care of the damage. Now, what did you do to take care of the damage?
Well, the next morning that I told...
Fire department came?
No, it didn't. Even though the fire alarm went off because of that.
No firemen came?
No. Your Honor, my son, the fireplace was about 10 feet away from his front bedroom door. And when he heard the alarm went off, he quickly went out. He went to the front yard, took the hose, and came in and hosed it down and extinguished it.
There was damage. Damage to floors, damage to the door, damage to walls, soot. What did you do to fix all that?
Well, I told my ex-girlfriend that I feel responsible for setting up the fire, causing the fire.
Of course.
Yeah.
You are responsible.
And then I feel bad about it, and then I'm going to fix it. So the next morning, I didn't go to work, and then I start from the painting the front door because it got the smoke stain on that front door. And also after that, I also fixed the hardwood floor just by sanding it, and then.
Did you buy a sander?
No, just like the sandpaper.
That's not the way you fix a floor, sir. You don't take a little piece of sandpaper and just go over areas. You got to do the whole floor.
Yeah. That's the thing is that because I noticed that only like there's like a small black stain on that hardwood floor caused by that fire.
So you just took a little piece of sandpaper and went over it. Mm-hmm. What else did you do?
And I also paint the ceiling. Not the ceiling, but the wallpaper.
You painted over a wallpaper.
Mm-hmm. Only on the portion that got the smoke.
You're not a decorator, are you, by profession? Huh?
No.
I didn't think so. So that's what you did. You painted over the wallpaper, you took a little piece of sandpaper and you went over the floor in certain spots, right?
Yeah.
And you painted over the front door. Now, before you painted over the front door, what did you do to get off the soot and the smoke and where it had been charred? Did you sand it down? Did you remove all the paint?
No, I didn't.
You just smeared a coat of paint over it.
That's right. I'm not a handyman, so.
When you cause damage to somebody else's property, sir, you may not be a handyman, but if you cause the damage, then you're supposed to get a professional to take care of it. You're not supposed to do it yourself. Let me see estimates of your damage. Do you have homeowners insurance?
Well, Your Honor...
Well is not an answer. My question is, did you
No,
have homeowners
I did
insurance?
not.
Why not?
At the time, I was changing insurance companies, and the 2 weeks had lapsed, and this incident took place during that 2 weeks.
Is this your own home?
Yes.
I want to see proof that you didn't have insurance. I want to see proof of that, because you're not going to collect twice. Do we understand each other?
Yes.
I'm really smart.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Victoria Lee says her friend's ex-boyfriend, Kiet Kurniawan, damaged her home when he started a fire with kerosene. Kiet says the damage occurred because he left his vodka next to the fireplace.
Now, we're going to bring me something from your insurance company indicating a lapse in coverage at a particular time. Do you have that information?
Yes, Your Honor. I managed to get a letter from the insurance company, as well as a copy of my current insurance, which will show that I started a new insurance as of July 13th, 2000.
And that's in Seattle, Washington?
Yes.
When did you purchase the home?
January of 2000.
How much did you purchase it for?
$240.
You have a mortgage?
Yes, I do.
What's the mortgage?
$189.
If you have a mortgage, you have to have insurance.
Yes.
The lender requires that you have insurance, and if you don't have insurance, they get insurance for you. So if you had to show proof at the closing that you had insurance, everybody knows that. What kind of business are you in?
I'm a mortgage consultant.
You got it. Do we understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor. But my home had closed in January, beginning of January, and then I had wanted to switch insurance company after it had closed, and I was hoping that the lender would not find out, which they didn't. So I did go ahead and get insurance with a different company as of July the 13th.
So what you're telling me is you fraudulently misrepresented to your lender that your premises was insured. Is that right?
No, it was insured at the time of the closing, Your Honor.
Well, at the time of the closing in January, if it was insured in January, it would have been insured in February, when you say the fire took place.
I wanted to change insurance companies, so I had canceled it.
Well, that's not his problem. He had an accident in your house. If you had insurance, which you should have had, then you would have been totally covered. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Case is dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I fixed it, and I actually told my ex-girlfriend that I will fix it.
Don't you let your insurance lapse.
Calendar in the matter of Stouch versus Stalling. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sarah, have a seat, please.
Mr. and Mrs. Stouch, was this a first wedding for both of you?
First for him, second for me.
According to your complaint, you booked the defendant's hall for your wedding.
Correct.
You were unhappy with what you saw when you finally saw it, and you want her to give you back all kinds of money, including a whole bunch for your aggravation.
Yes.
When was your wedding scheduled?
August 11th.
And when did you book the defendant's hall?
Right around June 5th.
Where is the defendant's hall located?
In Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
And where were you living?
Kansas City, Kansas.
Why were you getting married in Arkansas?
Well, we've learned a lot about Arkansas, about Eureka Springs, a nice little village, and...
How far is it from...
It's 5 hours, but there's a lot of wedding chapels in Eureka.
So you mean you were schlepping everybody out there, this 5-hour drive?
Yeah, a lot of his family and friends are from
the area.
That's what I'm getting at. So a lot of your family was actually there already.
They were within 2 hours away.
Okay. And you booked the place sight unseen?
Over the internet, we found it.
Over the internet? But sight unseen. You never went to look at it? Right. You never went to look at it? You never had any of your family or friends who live in Arkansas go to look at it?
No, my family is 2 hours away from Arkansas.
That's okay. A 2-hour trip. Which family? You have parents, sisters, brothers?
Sisters, brothers, and
So you say to your brother or your sister, do me a favor, take a ride up to this place. I saw it on the internet. You know, I think it's a nice place. I'd like you to take a look at it and make sure it's, you know, what we think it is. All right. So you went to look at the chapel how much before the wedding?
We showed up a day before the wedding. We had no reason to believe that it wasn't going to be a nice place. The pictures on the internet shows us it's nice. We're not supposed to just assume that it's a, you know, a dump.
Well, that's what you found. According to you, you found that it was a dump, right?
According, yes, but the internet pictures were totally different.
How much of a deposit had you given her?
A $200 deposit.
And she was supposed to provide other things as well. Food, right?
Supply food.
Cake. Now, you got there a day before you saw this place, and it was, according to you, a dump.
Very much so.
So what'd you do?
Spent the whole next day trying to find a new place. I went to the Chamber of Commerce. I went to try to get a hold of her. It took many hours to get a hold of her. The Chamber finally got a hold of her for us. I explained to her that we couldn't get married there. She refused to give us any money back. Then the Chamber actually got a hold of her, and she decided to give us $275 and give us the food and the cakes. But the cake was, in my opinion, unedible. It tasted like the place smelled.
Shh. I just like to see some photographs if you have them. I'm not to you yet.
There's before what it was supposed to look like. And then there's some. We have quite a few that we've taken of what it actually looks like.
Okay.
And if you'll notice, the floor is completely destroyed. And on the internet picture, it looks like the floor is brand new.
This is the picture that you're showing me of what the inside of the chapel looked like on the internet,
Yes.
right? Do you have this picture?
No.
Well, I can't tell what it looked like, what this picture looked like.
Do they have a picture of it being destroyed, the floor being destroyed?
Yes, we do.
They have pictures of the floor looking a little bit seedy, but
That's where we have to stand when we were getting married.
That doesn't impress me one way or another. One are outside pictures, one are inside pictures.
Correct.
So let me understand this. You gave her a $200 deposit.
Yes.
She gave you back $275, right?
Correct.
She gave you all the food, right?
Correct.
So what do you want?
We paid more than $275. We didn't pay just a $275 deposit.
Well, what did you pay?
Yeah, the total was $857.53. We also had to come up with another $857 to get married somewhere.
On a last minute.
On that day, we had to find another place to get married. There was no way we could have got married there.
Based upon the pictures that you show me, I don't see that there's any way that you couldn't gotten married there.
Would you have gotten married there?
I don't know. I can't tell from your pictures, sir.
Look at the outside. There's beer bottles outside.
I'm not talking about the outside. I'm talking about the inside.
Well, the outside has a lot to do with it.
Listen to me. You're talking, hey, don't speak to him.
I'm sorry.
You're talking about misrepresentation. Do you understand? You're talking about misrepresentation. You showed me a picture on the internet, this photograph.
Correct.
So what I asked you is, show me this picture of what this area was when you arrived. You don't have that picture. So I cannot make a judgment as to whether this picture misrepresented to you what the place looked like. You got a responsibility. Listen, I made a lot of weddings in my life, got a lot of kids, and I got married a couple of times myself. I never chose a place to get married based upon a picture. Never.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tony and Nicole Stouch say they rented Sherilyn Stallings' wedding site via the internet. The Stouches say the location turned out to be a dump.
Now, if she gave you $275 back in cash, plus she gave you all the food for the wedding.
There's no way we could have came up with the food and the cake.
We had to take the food. We didn't want the food. We had less than 24 hours left.
Did you have other people cater the wedding?
No, she was
So you
in charge of
used
catering.
that food to feed your people.
If we didn't use that food, we would have been out food and cake. We had to use that food, yes.
So you used it. That's what you
Yes,
used to feed
but
your...
it was awful.
I've been to weddings where the chicken was rubbery myself. That doesn't mean that the people sued them.
He works evenings, I work days. There was no possible way to even, I mean, we couldn't have done it.
Let me explain something to you. That's your responsibility.
It's also her responsibility to have a website that the pictures and her place looks like. I mean,
That's your responsibility. You're planning a wedding. Some people may like to plan a wedding in a dungeon. Some people may think it's kinky. Some people like to get married jumping out of airplanes, holding hands with a rabbi. Right? Not my thing. Some people like to get married at the top of a roller coaster. They think that that's interesting. It's not my thing. You were charged with the obligation of choosing a place. You chose this place based upon this picture.
And based on talking to her and telling us how nice it was.
Right. Well, what is she supposed to say? She's supposed to say it's not nice?
Well, it's not nice.
That's your fault. Send your sister over to the place and say, listen, we're contemplating doing this place. Do me a favor. Take a 2-hour ride. I want to make sure that this place, the whole place, is similar to this one picture that I saw on the internet. You didn't do that. What are you complaining about? You got married. You had your family and friends there. You had food. The food wasn't great. You know what you do when you do a wedding? You go to the place and you say, this is the place? Good. Now I want a tasting. You're going to supply the food. I'd like to taste whatever you say that you're going to provide so that I can select a menu. That's what people do. If you're doing this thing over the phone, you run certain risks. You had opportunities. You work days, you work nights. I'm sure that both of you don't work 7 days a week.
6 days.
Well, that's not 7. On the 7th day, you travel. If it's so important to you to see what the place looks like and to select the menu, you get in the car and you go there and take a look to see what it's about. You don't come in kvetching later that the place didn't look nice when I got there. Listen, you got married, be happy. Goodbye. Case is dismissed.
All right, excuse you, may step out.
The Miracle Mansion is not the place to get married.
I'm not ashamed of my building.
My wedding was pretty much ruined.
And my website pictures are accurate.
It was awful.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Lyons versus Mason. Step forward, please.
30-year-old child care provider Tara Lyons is suing her ex-boyfriend, 28-year-old lab technician James Mason, for unpaid rent and a car loan.
Ms. Lyons, according to your complaint, you met the defendant on the internet.
Yes.
A tool that I don't use very well. And then you met.
Yes.
When did you meet?
We met about August of 2000.
And then there came a time when you decided to live together and he moved in with you.
Yes. And it was kind of like iffy and off and on for about 2-3 weeks. And then he permanently stayed there. He moved all his stuff in.
When?
All about September of 2000. And then in October, he moved his stuff out of our room into a spare bedroom that I have.
And he was staying there as a tenant?
Yes, he was staying there as a tenant.
That must have been uncomfortable.
Not really. We still had conjugal visits.
That's more information than I needed. Okay.
The arrangement was that when he moved out of our bedroom into the spare bedroom, I said, well, if we're going to live like roommates, then you need to pay rent. And so we agreed on $200, and he was going to start paying in November 1st.
Okay. When did he make his first month's rent payment?
He never did.
When did he move out?
He moved his body out on the 2nd. He moved the remainder.
2nd of what?
The 2nd of January. He removed the remainder of his stuff around between the 18th and the 22nd
so
of
by
January.
He's gone. November he's supposed to pay rent. You say he never paid rent, so he's got November and December rent.
And 2 days in
January. Forget 2 days in January. Stop being silly. What else do you claim he owes you?
He owes me little odds and ends, like he needed $40 here. And
I don't want to hear $40 here and $40 there.
Okay, well, I kept track of it.
Did he sign a note for the money?
No, I wrote it in front of him and he agreed to it.
You remember that?
No.
That she wrote a note in front of you and you agreed to it?
Right before I moved out.
Just to answer my question.
All right.
You don't remember her writing down little pieces of paper?
I remember her handing me a note.
And the note said that you owed her how much?
Like $600.
You have the note that you gave him?
I have the receipt from the first payment after he had left. On January 20th, he paid me $100 to be reducted from the $610.43 that he owed. So he owed me $510.43.
That sound right? Look at me.
I don't know.
Look, January 20th, 2001.
Yeah.
You gave her $100.
Uh-huh.
That leaves a balance of $510.43. After January 20th, 2001, did you give her any more money?
Yes.
Show me.
Right here.
Good. Okay. Did he give you any money on February 18th?
Yes, he gave me another $100.
Right. How come you didn't tell me that?
No, I just said I had a receipt for the first 100.
Okay.
He gave me another 100.
And he gave you another 100 on April 15th?
No, he did not.
Show me that you gave her another $100 on April 15th.
That's all I have. And she would call me and say, you know, it's almost payday. And she'd say, are you going to have some money for me? And I'd say, yeah, Tara, I'll have some money for you. And I'd come over and I'd drop off the money and give it to her.
No, he didn't. We would have emailed each other back and forth, which means I would have had records of it through email. Most of my stuff, my information is through the emails. That's how I know exactly how much he owes me. My last email from him was on May 9th. I wrote him, it says, I haven't heard from you. I'm still waiting for you to pay me on May 11th. On May 10th, he wrote me, no, I will not be stopping by. I cannot afford to pay you this month, maybe next month. May 16th, I wrote him back. I will write you in June. On June 1st, I wrote him, okay, what day of this month is good for you? This was at 9:29 p.m. On June 1st at 9:49 p.m., he wrote me back, none. Then on June 2nd, I had wrote him back, why is it taking you so long to pay me back? You owe me less than $420. On the 4th at 7:06, he wrote me, I will not be paying you. I cannot afford anymore. Sorry.
Well, he owes you right now
$410.43.
Right.
I don't know that money.
You have those communications with her?
Yeah, I sent her the emails, but I mean...
Mr. Mason, according to this piece of paper that you gave me, you owe her $310.
Yeah.
All right? Let's assume that I take your figure as accurate, which I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to do. Why didn't you pay her the $310?
Because I don't owe it to her.
Just a minute. You just handed me this piece of paper, sir.
Yeah.
According to this piece of paper, your evidence, you still owe her $310. Why didn't you give her the $310 that, according to your piece of paper, you still owe her?
I don't say that I owe her that $300.
I do. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $410. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Montero versus Hill. Step forward, please.
36-year-old cleaning supervisor Deborah Montero is suing 47-year-old security guard Isaac Hill. Deborah says during a scuffle between her witness and Mr. Hill, she was injured.
Ms. Montero, it's your claim that Mr. Hill is responsible for some injuries that you sustained when he was in some sort of an altercation with someone that you were with.
Yes, my witness.
And he either pushed or shoved that person. That person went into you, causing you to fall, and that's when you sustained the injuries.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. When did this happen and where?
It was November 24th, the day after Thanksgiving, downtown New Haven in Connecticut. I'm part of the clean team. We take care of cleaning the sidewalks and the curbs.
Okay.
I was cleaning the curbs, standing in the street, and Mr. Sullivan had come up and we were talking.
That's Mr. Sullivan?
Yes, that is. We were talking. He was facing me, so his back was to the mall. Then all of a sudden I heard somebody screaming, that's it, I'm tired of this. And like 2 seconds later, Mr. Hill shoved Mr. Sullivan into me. Mr. Sullivan's elbowed me in the mouth and the chin. I pretty much broke Mr. Sullivan's fall with my face.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Deborah Montero says she was injured when Isaac Hill pushed her friend, Sam Sullivan. Isaac says Sam threatened to blow up his car.
How were you injured?
When Mr. Sullivan fell back, he elbowed my chin, jilting my neck and twisting my back.
Did you see a doctor?
At the time, no, I did not. But I started to feel neck and back pain from being snapped back. Eventually, it started to get really bad, so I did need to go see a chiropractor.
And you did. About how long after the November 24th incident did you go to see a chiropractor?
About 1 week later.
Did you ever see a lawyer?
Yes, I did.
When did you see a lawyer?
This was on a Friday, the following Monday.
You went to see an attorney?
Yes.
The chiropractor that you went to see, was the chiropractor referred to you by the lawyer?
Yes, yes.
Did you go to work the following week?
The next day is Saturday. I was supposed to work. I did miss work on Saturday because I went to get out of bed and I was really stiff.
What about the following week? Did you go to work the following week?
Yes. At the time I was a supervisor. I was unable to perform my duties to the fullest, so I had to have some of my guys like take the trash bags out, you know, help me out.
You went to work the entire next week?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Hill, I've read your answer. Tell me what position you hold in this mall, because I assume you were employed by the mall?
I'm the supervisor of security at that mall.
And I assume that you, from your answer, know Mr. Sullivan.
Yes, I've had dealings with Mr. Sullivan.
And I assume that you did not want Mr. Sullivan anywhere around the mall.
I didn't know. That's not true. He was welcome at the mall.
But something happened that day, sir, and you initiated it. You went up to him, correct?
I went up, no. He proceeded in my direction first.
So you tell me your version of what happened. They're standing outside the mall.
I pulled my car up to go into the mall to cash my check that morning. I was off duty, okay? As I approached the mall, he walked in my direction, and because of prior incidents which we have had.
So there have been prior incidents of physical encounters?
Not physical. In his usual manner of threatening. He said, "Oh, that's your car." He had never seen me in my car before, I presume. And I looked at him, and I didn't respond, and he said, "Okay, I know what I'm going to do with that car." Boom! And I just took that as a saying, he's going to blow my car up. He proceeded to back up. I guess he looked at my eyes. He saw I'm not the one to be playing with. So I did shove him. I said, "Do it now, Sam. Why don't you do it now?" Okay? As a result, he started, in his cowardice fashion again, backpedaling. Okay, he just backpedaling away from me. And he goes in his pocket. And I see him go in his pocket, and I go, there was a dustpan on the pole. And I picked up the dustpan, because I know, you know, I didn't know what it was in his hand. I couldn't make it out. Then when I seen it was the cell phone, I put the dustpan back down. And I went back into the mall, got my check, came out, and the police were there.
Did they have a discussion with you with regard to the plaintiff's injuries?
When the police arrived, I immediately, he asked me, "Did you hit this guy? Did you shove this guy?" I said, "Yes." Then I went to start to proceed to explain why I hit him. He said, "I don't hear nothing." And he made me go into the mall. He wasn't interested in what I had to say about prior incidents.
Mr. Hill.
I'd like to make one more statement.
Okay.
When I came outside the mall, okay, and she did, now, you know, she did get hit. But the point is,
Mr. Hill.
Okay, I'm sorry. But it wasn't as a result of me pushing her.
Mr. Hill, I'm in charge.
Into her. Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm in charge. Now, you just said something very important. You said she got hit.
Yeah, you'll see as the testimony my witness will describe, which I didn't know.
Okay, you didn't see her get hit?
No.
Tell me your name.
Andrew Peter.
Tell me what you saw with regard to the plaintiff getting hit.
Well, it was like 2 minutes after Mr. Hill pushed Sullivan over there. When he reached for his cell phone, he stepped off the curb. She was still sweeping, coming up, and talking at the same time.
You mean when Mr. Sullivan reached for his cell phone?
Yeah. He stepped off the curb, pulled his cell phone out. That's when she got hit in her face by his hand.
This happened at about the same time as Mr. Hill, according to his testimony, was picking up the dustpan, right?
The dustpan was on the corner.
No.
Right at the corner.
He said, pay careful attention to me. Mr. Hill said he went for the dustpan because Mr. Sullivan reached into his pocket for something.
That's a cell phone.
Right? So when I said to you, the cell phone and the dustpan were about the same moment, that would be correct. Is that right?
Well, like 3 seconds apart.
Seconds apart.
Yeah.
And the cell phone, you assume, or one might assume under the circumstances, was being used to call 911 because Mr. Hill had just shoved him. That be a fair statement?
Fair enough, yeah.
Just answer this question, Mr. Sullivan. Were you getting your cell phone in order to call the police?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's what I assumed. And according to you, that's when Miss Hill was hit by Mr. Sullivan's elbow when he reached for the cell phone.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's follow this logically. Mr. Hill was the first one that put his hands on another person by shoving Mr. Sullivan. As a result of you putting your hands on him, Mr. Sullivan reaches in his pocket to call the police. And as a result of that reaching in his pocket to call the police...
Your Honor, please.
Miss Montero gets hit. You acknowledge that she got hit. He acknowledges she got hit, right?
It wasn't by him pushing Sullivan into her.
It doesn't have to be. He caused the chain of events to occur.
He caused the chain of events when he stepped in my direction?
No.
Yes.
Mr. Hill, pay careful attention to me, Mr. Hill. How old are you, sir?
I'm 47 years old. I don't like people running up on me.
I'm not going to be able to make an appreciable change in the way you do business in a relatively short period of time. But you're in charge of security.
I was off duty at the time.
Whether you're off duty or whether you're on duty, a person who's in charge of security at a mall is supposed to be level. Right? If someone makes a threat, whether you're on duty or off duty, the mall may say he's off duty because that
this guy's mother makes, or not, I'm not going to say mother, his companion makes death threats at me.
Listen to me. Then what you do, Mr. Hill, if you're in charge of security, you're not just a private citizen. You are in charge of security like a peace officer. That's what it means, peace officer. So if someone is threatening you, and it may be someone who's not operating with a full, full semblance of chromosomes, all right? And that's a possibility, because if somebody makes threats to bomb your car, they're not operating with a full deck. Then what you do is you go inside to the mall and you call the police and you say, this man has just threatened me. He's threatened to blow up my car. I want the police to respond. Your response, however, was to push him.
Well, I was traumatized over the fact that in recent altercation, he tried to crawl over a police officer to get at me, and they did nothing. I mean, I felt like the matter had been put in my hands, madam, and no one was doing nothing for me.
Clearly, then that day, you were pushed to the limit, so you acted inappropriately by putting your hands on him as a peace officer. I mean, if the police aren't responding appropriately, then it's your job to do the right thing, not to say, well, I'm going to compound it by doing the wrong thing by putting your hands on somebody. Miss Montero, you have photographs of your injuries?
No, I don't.
I don't need anything else. Listen to me. I'm a really smart lady.
Okay.
And I know what happens when somebody has second thoughts and says, well, because of him, I got hit. And you have a lawyer. The lawyer said, you must be really injured. I'm going to send you to my doctor. Then the lawyer goes to try to settle with the mall, and the mall said, listen, he wasn't even working that day. And then your lawyer cuts you loose, right? Lawyer cut you loose. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in small claims court, Ms. Montero.
That is not correct. It's not against the mall. It's for Mr. Hill personally.
Well,
okay.
What I'm telling you is, you got hit in the jaw. The question is, what is that worth?
Okay. My neck and my back snapped back. I had a lot of back pain, a lot of neck pain. Okay.
All right. So you went to the chiropractor who made you feel better?
Somewhat.
Good.
Somewhat.
How much were the chiropractor's bills?
$876.
Okay.
And I have.
Just want to take a look at the chiropractor's bills, please.
Okay, and I have the police report.
Because there really is not much of a dispute. I've already found that as a result of Mr. Hill's actions, you got hit. And Mr. Hill wasn't acting as a peaceful officer. He let the history with Mr. Sullivan get in the way. Okay. Mr. Hill, you are responsible for the chiropractic bills, which ultimately the plaintiff will have to pay. There's $876 worth of chiropractic bills. And in addition, I am awarding her the sum of $2,000 because but for your actions, she would not have been hit in the face. And she was, in fact, hit in the face. And she was hit in the face because you did the wrong thing. And you got to pay for that. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,876. That's all. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yes.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Holiday, Presley versus Llewellyn. Step forward, please.
30-year-old court collector Laura Holliday and 20-year-old Autumn Presley are suing 23-year-old cashier Erica Llewellyn for attorney's fees resulting from a false police report. Erica claims Laura and Autumn keyed her car.
Who is Miss Halliday? I am. And Miss Priestley, that's...
Presley.
Presley? Mm-hmm. Okay. According to your complaint, you believe that the defendant falsely accused you of keying her car, as a result of which you were arrested, had to hire an attorney, and ultimately, I assume, found not guilty. And you want her to pay the attorney's fees. Mm-hmm. And some small amount for harassment. The defendant says she believes she had good cause to notify the police of your involvement in vandalizing her car. So the first thing I have to know is, how do you ladies know each other?
My husband has a son with her.
Your husband has a child with the defendant?
Correct.
How long are you married?
3 years.
How old is your child?
He'll be 4 in February.
And you?
A child also with her husband.
And you have a child with her husband?
Her husband.
With her husband? And how old is your child?
She will be 4 in March.
He must have been very busy 4 years ago. Do you have any children with him?
No.
Okay, so that's how you know each other. Each of you have 4-year-olds with her husband.
Yes.
And you two are friends. When did this alleged incident of vandalizing your car take place?
In between the dates of March 16th and to the 18th of 2001.
On the 16th, the car was okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you find on the 18th?
I had really bad key marks on both sides of my car. I had it on the trunk and on the hood.
Can I see pictures of it? Do you have pictures?
I do not have pictures.
And do you have a police report?
Yes, I do.
Can I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I assume there's no question that you contacted the police and gave the police at some point the plaintiffs' names as the perpetrators of this act of vandalism. When did you do that? How much after the incident?
Almost a week.
It was on the 26th of March.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what happened on the 26th of March that suggested to you that the two plaintiffs were responsible for the damage?
My next door neighbor, I hadn't talked to her within that week. Came over.
Told you something?
Yeah.
Is your next door neighbor here?
No, she's not.
Well, that's interesting because your testimony with regard to that would be hearsay. However, there are certain exceptions to the hearsay rule. And one of those exceptions is if I don't take it for the truth of the statement, but merely that it was said to you that caused you to do something else, which in this case would be to call the police, I can hear what she told you and then make a determination myself as to whether or not she actually told it to you.
Okay.
Not whether she saw it, but whether she told it to you. All right, so you had a conversation with your neighbor. Tell me what your neighbor said to you.
She told me that Saturday night that she seen a white Jeep parked across the street, and she sat there and watched them for a little bit, and she said she seen them walk over and key my car and then take off laughing.
Did she describe the people?
She did describe the people. She actually said they were both white. She said that they had long hair and they were a little bit thick, or well, I don't know how to explain it, but they were bigger women.
Do you have any police reports?
These are the copies of what she has as her statement.
She didn't give me anything but one sheet of paper. Okay. Is there any interview in this police report from your neighbor?
No, the neighbors, none of her witnesses showed up in the court either that dismissed the case.
My neighbor is extremely sick.
That doesn't prevent the police from going and taking a statement.
Right. When I told them who it was and where she was, they did not even take any kind of initiative to talk to her.
I have a statement from the car dealership. My car was in the shop the week of the 15th to the 20th.
Let me see. So you actually never went to trial in this case?
No.
To whom it may concern, this Jeep Cherokee was at Extreme Auto Credit Inc. for repairs. Did you show this to the police?
The police never contacted us. We gave it to our attorney.
Now, what would make you think that these two, other than this statement, which I find difficult to believe because the fact that this alleged witness who told you about what she saw couldn't come to this court today, there's certainly no reason why this witness couldn't go to a local court, right?
Yeah, but she's extremely sick.
Well, maybe she's too sick to see what she said she saw. What would make you think that these two women would do such a thing to your car?
I've had problems with Miss Halliday for years, and just this year I just started having problems with Miss Priestley.
Why would you have problems with them?
I've been back and forth in court for like the last 4 years because she's taken me to court for stuff that she has said I've done that I haven't.
Like what?
Like judgments. She's took me to court for trying to get restraining orders against me several times.
Yeah.
She stated that I stalked her and all this, and I've never stalked her.
A couple of basic questions. Put your papers down. Did you ladies know each other before you had this mutual Don Juan? What's his name, by the way, your husband?
Ernie.
Ernie. Before Ernie, did you ladies know each other?
No.
No.
So it would be fair to say that any disputes that you've had, and I assume that there have been some negative feelings about children, child support, visitation, seeing all these children, that without Ernie, you would not have any problems with each other. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, probably.
Do these children visit Ernie?
Yeah, Ernie has full custody of 2 of them.
Of both of these children?
No. He had joint with her. We have a custody trial coming up in April.
So the child lives with
Me.
you. And what about your child?
Mine lives with him.
Lives with Ernie? And lives with you?
Correct.
For how long?
About a year now.
Ernie has other children?
Yes.
How many more children does Ernie
Ernie
have?
has 5 children.
Ernie has 5. She says 6.
By 5 different people. We also had I was with Ernie for 6 years before them two had got together, and we had a daughter together that unfortunately passed away.
That was the 6th, I assume that you're talking about. You think you're going to stay with Ernie forever?
I don't know.
If I were an odds maker, I would say no. So I'm going to give you all a little bit of advice. You didn't ask me for it, but you're here, and you're a captive audience, so I'm going to tell you. You're making a fool over yourselves. Each of you, for somebody that's probably not worth being a doormat for you to wipe your feet on.
I agree.
I mean, the fact that you got snookered in by this thing for some periods of time, for 4 years, for 5 years, for a year, it's a mistake. But to be involved in litigation, to be involved in harassing each other, just ridiculous. Don't you agree? You got to put a stop to it.
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
We tried at one point. We were getting along at one point, and I loaned her money to get her license back and such, and she never paid me back. That's what one of the court cases was about.
She never gave me a chance to pay her back.
Whatever. So it seems to me, this sounds almost like a communal marriage. Listen, you all don't have to really like each other. The fact that you have this common thread in Ernie is unfortunate, but it doesn't make you family. I mean, I assume you have to go over there to pick up your child who Ernie has custody of. Do you have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many other children?
I have 2 other children.
Where do they live?
With me.
Well, why does this child live with Ernie?
Because Ernie has custody of her.
Did you voluntarily give Ernie custody of the 4-year-old?
Yes, I did.
Why would you do that?
Because we were going through court at the time, and they were trying to have me pay for something that I shouldn't have been paying for
Like
when
what?
I think it was from when she was born, and he just took over the responsibility to pay the bill. So in order for him to take over the bill, he had to have custody.
Come on, you're being a little obtuse here. Give it to me straight.
That's
No.
why he got custody.
No.
Yes.
No. You mean if he pays the bill, he gets custody? That's why they gave him custody? Was that your contract with him? Was that your agreement with him?
No, it wasn't a contract.
Bunch of wackos. You're all a bunch of wackos. You have no case. She probably had grounds to call in a report that she believed that you had damaged her car. The fact that your car may have been in the shop, may not have been in the shop, that also was hearsay, by the way, the letter that you gave me. And you probably have done the same thing to her. How many times have you been to court with her?
I went to court with her a few times. One time was when she kicked in my door and came at me with a butcher knife. The other time was when the police had to remove her from my property.
So you've been involved a few times with each
Hello everyone, welcome back my channel. Please subscribe my channel